What's happening, drinking pandas? Peter Von Panda here. Hey, I've got a setup here on a little bar. I thought we would talk a little bit about the recent news that Moscow mules, because they're so popular, are going to give you metal poisoning. And the reason is that copper mugs like this, when you have liquids that are more acidic than basic, they tend to draw the copper into the liquid and then you ingest it. Basically, the copper kind of leaches into the drink. And so what you want is to only drink liquids that are, I think, higher on the pH scale in terms of number than a 7. So 7 is neutral. Let me throw up the pH scale here, which is kind of interesting. I didn't really understand where everything falls on it, and some of the things I didn't think was very intuitive. But, you know, water looks like, or milk is kind of right in the middle, very neutral, right at that 7 level. Anything below that, is going to be more acidic, and 6 all the way down to, full-on acid, as we think about it, is going to be like at a 1 or a 0. And then on the more basic side, which is going to include things that are more alkaline, will be like, what I didn't know is like bleach, but other things, that you kind of do think of as pretty, I don't know, creamy and calm and things like that. But the question is that apparently Moscow mules fall into the category of having a pH of 6 or less. And that's kind of dangerous, particularly if you drink them a lot. So what I do have here is a copper mug. We're not going to be able to test anything too precisely. And this is certainly not going to be very much of a science test. It's just going to be for entertainment and shits and giggles more than anything. But here is a universal pH test strip kit that I ordered on Amazon. I'll put a link to it in the description if you've got pH things that you want to test. And it comes like this. You may recognize something like this from your high school days, which would be pretty cool. And I think you just get an end wet and they change colors. And there's a little color scale in here that'll show you, what the pH is, generally 1 through 14. And what we're looking for is a Moscow Mule below 7. And my question then is, if the Moscow Mule is below 7, there's really only 3 components: lime juice, ginger beer, and vodka, right? So if it is below a 7 and it's not safe to drink in a copper mug, which I think the science says it's not, then what about the Moscow Mule makes it acidic? Is it all of these things? Is it any one of these things? So I thought we would try that. So one of the first things I want to do here is actually just test one of the pH strips on water. This is just regular bottled water here. And, the funny thing about the test strip is it's kind of like goldenrod right off the bat. And so just want to see if this works. And so the control here is I'm going to just wet this. And it looks like the water here is just kind of lightening up the strip. So it kind of says to me that I feel like water is a 6. Now I thought it was supposed to be more of a 7, and I don't know if as you wait the color changes, but it looks more like a 6 to me than it does a 7 right there. Okay, so I kind of think the water around here is just acidic anyway. All right, so now let's go ahead and make a Moscow Mule first. What I have is my Polish vodka. So I'm just gonna ballpark it here. A little vodka. I'll make a small one. I'm gonna take a little ginger beer here that I picked up at Trader Joe's. The bulk of it's ginger beer. Just like sugar water. And then I just picked up some generic lime juice at my local Julasco. But, so my percentages might be a little off here. There we go. All right, give it a little stir there. And then let's go ahead and test it with one of these strips. Let's see what it does. All right, wow. Right off the bat, got really bright orange on me, okay? So, I don't know if it'll continue to change. My lighting where I'm at is not the greatest, but what I can tell you is that it looks like, to me, it comes out to a 3 or a 4. And I'd probably say a little more 4 than 3. So it's definitely acidic based on the strip test here. Yeah, my lighting isn't great, but probably right between a 3 and a 4. So definitely overall it's acidic, and given that we now know that it's, you know, the General Moscow Mule is not safe to drink in copper, we can say that, you know, pretty confidently. Now the question is, what is it about the Mule? So let's go ahead and take a little bit of the ginger beer first and test that. Okay, and that goes orange right away too. And if we look at the scale here, looks like that's about a 3 and a 4. So, you know, the ginger beer is the largest individual component of the Moscow Mule, so it's probably not surprising that maybe it is also the biggest contributing factor to the pH. But that looks kind of like it falls right on it. Now, let's also test the lime juice here, which I'm just going to pour over the strip. Wow, and that turns bright orange right away. I mean, that's the brightest orange I've had yet. And actually, it's pretty close to being red. So I would say that's a 1 or a 2. So the lime juice is definitely pretty acidic, okay? So now we have the ginger beer, which we know is acidic, the lime juice, which we know is acidic, and the last component, if the vodka is not extremely basic, because you don't put that much in there, then the whole thing is going to be acidic, right? Just math, I guess. Let's go ahead and rip off a strip here, throw it in there, and oh, you know what? Kind of turns a light green, and I would say that's a 7. Too light to be an 8, but that's definitely like a 7 on the scale. So the interesting thing is if you want to drink vodka right out of a copper mug, I think you're okay. Just don't add any ginger beer or lime juice, which I can do. It's fine with me. So you're only putting like a splash, a shot or two of vodka in there. So again, not the biggest component. And since it's right in the middle, kind of right on that, let's call it the threshold of being safe to not safe, you know, just kind of indifferent. You know, the fact is it's not going to do anything to the overall mixture. With the 2 acidic components to the Moscow Mule, I guess it's pretty clear that drinking Moscow Mule out of a pure copper mug is not going to be something safe to do. Now, they have said, you know, if the Moscow Mule mug is plated or coated with something, yeah, you can drink it out of there. The copper won't leach into the drink. But I've also seen Moscow Mules not in copper form. I think one of the really common things, because of the high price of copper for a while, was to make a stainless steel Moscow Mule mug. So I might try to pick up a set of those and check those out too. But there you have it. pH test on a Moscow Mule. Peter Von Panda, out.